Hello, today I want to show you something amazing that has to do with 3i Atlas and the Rapture. And so, since people started talking about 3i Atlas back in January, I'm not sure when I heard about it personally, but that it's an interstellar object. And as we can see here from this film on the Wikipedia page, is it's coming from outside of our solar system and passing very close to Mars and um, the sun and then to Jupiter. It passes on the other side of the sun while the sun is obscuring it from our perspective. But just the timing of this is so close to when the rapture is going to take place that I just kept feeling like there was more to 3i Atlas and that there would be something there, something special that would let us know that this was preordained, that God set this in motion. And of course, just like what you see here in this video, is almost everything is presented in terms of the solar system model. And so this is what I'd been looking at. And uh, so someone had was kind enough to put it into the universe simulator program, and so I just started looking at where will Atlas be on the rapture date, and then subsequently where does it line up with the planets? Where is there an intersect with the planets? What day does that occur on? And I went through and I ran the simulation and I found it for Mars and Mercury and and the Sun and Venus, and then where would it be on 11/11? Because if you're a Rapture watcher, you're interested in two dates, and that's Rosh Hashanah and 11/11. And I concluded that there was no significance here. There didn't seem to be any geometry. There wasn't any symmetry. There wasn't anything that would where I could point to it and go, AI Atlas is or AI 3i Atlas. I call it AI Atlas because one of the files that I worked with was mislabeled, where it literally said uh, AI Atlas, and so it is just stuck in there. Anyways, and um, and so I gave up on looking at it. Well, I mean, keep up with the ongoing news. What did Webb see when it looked at it? What did Hubble see when it looked at it? What is Avi Loeb's latest pontification? But it's been a few weeks, and last night, I guess on 9/11, in the middle of the night, I went to Wikipedia because someone didn't know about it, and I was like, "Oh, they let me get a little clip. That clip that I just showed you is what I ended up finding for them on, what does its path look like through the solar system." And while I was there, I saw I saw this picture, path of 3i Atlas, but it's from Earth's perspective and it has all the constellations marked in the background. And God really got my attention with this. And it's this is how this is how um this is how God expects man, or this is how God put together things for man to see, from the earth. That the solar system model, that's just really a modern construct, a very modern construct for how we should understand the stars, and if God put something there as a marker, how it should be understood. But looking at this with the constellations, I had a curious idea. Do any of the stars in the constellations line up with 3i Atlas, and where do they line up? And so I'm just going to go ahead and draw the lines on here that I ended up seeing. And so these two let me let me sort of explain here, because I noticed that there's a lot of confusion about constellations and three-eye atlas. And so these red dots are 10 days apart. This is its position as seen from the Earth against the backdrop of the sky and the constellations. And there's 10 days between each one of these red dots. And as there's just a whole bunch of dots here, because it's as we see that, oh well, I guess I don't have a good picture of it here, but that it's coming, it's like when it's far enough away from it, it doesn't move hardly at all compared to the backdrop. And so it's coming out of underneath the constellation Aquila here, and then it travels. When it's close to us, there's a big difference in the parallax. So it came out of the Aquila. It was discovered on January or July 1st, I think. So somewhere right in here was when people noticed it. And then it's going to go back out, and it will stop moving from our perspective in the Gemini constellation sometime, I guess, in March 2026. That's where we go into the next year right there. And so this is it's from our perspective on the Earth. Where is Three-Eye Atlas in the sky over time? And then it kind of settles back into its position, of being extremely far away over here where it's not moving much. And and so the thing is, that got my attention immediately was that we have the three constellations that you'd need when talking about Revelations 12. You have the dragon, so here's the dragon's head, here's the dragon's body, and you have its tail. You have the woman, so this is her head and her arm, and these are her legs. And you have the lion, and so here's its head and its neck and its body and its legs. And so, first off, that's already getting my attention, because it's like, all right, well, these are the three things we're dealing with here in the time of the rapture, at the beginning of the tribulation. That's what's being dealt with. One of the things that's being dealt with in Revelations chapter 12 is we have the dragon wants to devour the child of the woman, and also the lion is a representation of Jesus throughout the Bible. So all these three things are in play right now because Jesus is coming to get us. Okay, so I hope that gives you sort of a bearing for what we're looking at here, and where which constellations are we dealing with, where did it start, where did its path start from, where did it originate from, and where is it going. Okay, now we're going to draw some lines on here, because there is significance with a line. You can define a line with 2 points, and then, I don't know if you've ever had to correlate something or prove that an equation is true, but if you can demonstrate a linear correlation between your theory and the data, that's very strong. So I figured, just like I did with the solar system up here, I figured that if there was going to be something important, it would be the lines. It would be where the lines intersected. In this case, I was looking at where the lines intersected between the planets and a three-eye atlas. Okay, so let's draw some lines on here. Well, what I essentially did is I started from I have to change the colors, which is something I think I will be doing quite a bit here to make things readable. All right, and so we'll grab it like that. Okay, and yeah, all right. So oops, I need to, there we go, different tool. All right, so what I did is, since I already know the answer, the date I'm interested in is Rosh Hashanah. And so I essentially just started dragging this all over the place to see if there were any defined lines that matched up, that tied any of these constellations to these dates. And I've only found very few that actually match up. And so the first one here actually points to just before Rosh Hashanah. It points to the, like the 22nd, I would say. I'm not sure what the accuracy, the per pixel accuracy is of this diagram from Wikipedia. But so I'm not terribly concerned. It just, if it's close, it's going to serve my purpose here. So there's one for the serpent. So there's an alignment of the serpent's head, or the dragon's head, uh, the constellation and the part of the constellation that represents the head. There's an alignment between that and Rosh Hashanah, just a little slightly before it, 22nd-ish. And the other one that I found was from the woman's 2 feet to just after. We'll give that a different color. And so here we have already, we're bringing the dragon's head and between the woman's legs into this picture. And we're going to go ahead and add another one, which is actually through 3 stars in the Lion constellation. And we'll make this purple. And this one actually lines up perfectly with the one for the woman. So the serpent one, it lands a little before, the date a little before. So essentially what we're doing here is we're letting 3i Atlas be the date setter. And we're looking at what dates do the constellations point to, just linearly. We just draw a line. And so I think of in Revelations 12 where it says that the dragon is waiting for the woman to give birth to devour the child. But the child's called up to heaven. And what I see here is that the woman's constellation is connected to the lion constellation. It represents Jesus, and not just by 2 points, but by 3 points. The number of manifestation that Jesus is literally going to come get us and save us from the dragon. Okay? And it's hard for me to tell how much I need to belabor that, but just wow, I was just overwhelmed when I saw this. But there's more, so I'm just gonna point out the things. So we're gonna grab this line, and the other date that I'm interested in, of course, is 11/11. So November 11th. And that, in everyone's dreams or whatever, Phillip Barnett, Tony Lamb, that everyone thinks that 11/11 is a very it's a bad day. It's not a good day. You don't want to be here on 11/11. And if you do, you want to find cover. And so we have the serpent's head intersects with the woman on 11/11. And so something's happening here on the eve of Rosh Hashanah. Something goes into effect. I don't know. Is it the start of World War III? I don't know what it is exactly. But something starts to happen here, and Jesus comes and saves us right here. He saves us before the whatever it is can affect us, can reach out and touch us. But later, there is a intersection between the dragon's head and the woman on 1111. And there's actually two intersections. And to see the other one, we actually have to draw a circle. And we're just gonna drop it right there. And let's see if I can make this big enough. There it is. There's a second intersection, and it has to do, I'm gonna make this we'll make it still the bad color, a reddish color, warning color. And so it is the same distance between Rosh Hashanah and 1111 as it is between Rosh Hashanah and the other star that we were using in the dragon's neck. And so there's even more geometrical significance here, because this is observed twice. This is tied twice to the dragon, once through the woman and then once through just a second geometrical shape. And so we have all of this coming together here, bound at this particular time according to the path of Three-Eye Atlas, which has been in motion since, like before the foundations of the earth. It's over here, it's just been traveling towards us since, the time of Adam, or whenever it was placed there. And it will only be in the sky, in our sky, traversing, having these chances to line up with these things just for this very short sliver. And between this point, between September, Rosh Hashanah, and 1111, that this is a temporal distance between these two. And so if it had a different speed, that these alignments wouldn't happen. You could do one or the other with a different speed. And if you had it at a different trajectory, these wouldn't happen at all. And if you had it at a different time, these dates wouldn't happen at all. And so this feels unbelievably important. It's like, set up by God to be a confirmation of these two dates as being extremely significant and having these simple geometric alignments to confirm them. And wow, it's really ministered to me, and yeah. So I hope it's ministered to you as well. Anyways, I hope to see you in the sky.